Hey guys, this is Ryan from rm-sounds.com, and today I'm going to show you a few little tricks I use in Ableton to vintage up my sounds and get that gritty, old, fragile sound that you hear. So let's get right into it. What I've got here is a little piano loop, prepared piano loop I made last night. I'll play you the unaltered file. And if I open up this scope here, this is schwa scope. You can see the frequency spectrum, and also you can see the stereo field. You can see it's very wide and rich and just lots of good stuff happening. But we don't want that. We're gonna kill all of that and mess it up. So what I've got going here, I'll close this down, is an audio effect rack, and the very first thing I've got in the chain is an EQ right here, and this just kind of mimics the quality of the recording equipment used way back in the day, that had an inability to capture anything below a certain frequency and anything above a certain frequency. It really kind of left you with a tinny mid-range recording of whatever you were capturing. And so to try and mimic that, all you have to do is use a low pass and high pass filter on the EQ8 in Ableton and set it to roughly where I've got it here. I mean, all of it is to taste, right? So wherever you like it, but here's kind of an A-B comparison. This is without it and with it. The next thing I did was I put a utility device in the chain, and I set the stereo width to 0. So this is going to turn it into a monophonic sound file, and mono is a very powerful compositional tool. So AB, this is without it, and with it. You can hear a huge difference. And also in my macro controls, I've set up a width knob, which is controlling the width parameter, which lets you kind of dial in how much stereo you want, which is quite nice. But we'll leave it at 0. And also, just to show you what's going on here, if you look at the scope here, you can once again see how nice and wide it is, but then as soon as we go to mono, you take everything away and make it extremely boring, but that's what we're going for. So the next thing I've added is some vinyl distortion with a little tiny bit of crackle. This crackle is very easy to abuse and sound like crap, and if you put too much of it in, it's very obvious you're using Ableton's vinyl distortion crackle, and that's not cool, so use it in very subtle amounts. But just got a very little bit of distortion happening. You don't want too much. And I've got the tracing model distortion set to my audio effect rack macro parameters. I've just got a tracing drive right here. And these parameters that I've got mapped out to the macros are very fun to kind of perform real time, because you don't want, you know, just a repetitive loop. You want it to kind of change over time and sound, you know, like part of the record was a little more damaged than another part or whatever. So that's why I've mapped these out. Next thing I've got is a filter delay, and it's set up with a very short delay time right here, 67.8 milliseconds, and it's got a slight low pass filter on it, and this is kind of a cheap attempt to get a spring reverb sound. So when I turn that on, you get some very resonant notes hanging there. You can change the time. Now, next to the filter delay, this is the most important part here, the a simple delay. And what this is doing is it's not actually altering the sound in a delay way, but I've actually got it set to repitch. And this mimics a tape style delay that will change the pitch as you alter the delay time. Kind of hard to explain. Let me just show you what I do. I've got the delay time mapped out to my macro control number 2 here. So at 1 millisecond, it's not really going to change anything when I turn this on. But when you change the delay time, it will kind of hiccup, and it'll take a little bit of time to catch up to the new setting, and you'll hear the pitch change, right? So if I throw this down like this, you get like a really awesome kind of scratching sound or whatever. And so what I do with that is I kind of just tweak it very subtly, very slowly, only a few milliseconds. And what you'll get is a very subtle pitch shift. That gives you a very eerie Boards of Canada sound. Kind of sounds like an old VHS tape or something that has kind of been degraded. Anyway, that's fun to tweak in real time. And then finally I just have a limiter here to